Tazayin, right? Okay. Thank you. What do we got up to the Mishna, right? Mishna Tazayin Ubeis. Tazayin Tes Vavim Ubeis. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, you dying. Tomorrow's daf is pretty short. So that's okay. So let's see. Tonight's daf is not as gishmak as last night's daf, but there are some interesting things. So Zok the Mishnah, yeah. That's what we got up to, right? Yeah. So Shavua, if he makes it now, till now, the last Mishnah we learned was talking about he made a Neder. Yesterday's daf was that he made a Neder that he's not going to sleep, that he's not going to talk, he's not going to walk. Right? So so we said that Neder it works. Tonight we're going to do the same exact Mishnah, except it's a Shavua. And a Shavua means swearing as opposed to a Neder. So Zok the Mishnah, Shavua she'eni yoshin. It makes a Shavua that he's not going to sleep. She'eni medaber, she'eni mahalach. Then it is assur. He's assur, right? Yeah. So now there's only one thing missing from this Mishnah, though. In the last Mishnah, by Neder, it also brought that he made a Neder that he's not going to sleep with his wife. And here it doesn't bring that. And the reason for that is like we were saying, that a Shavua doesn't work. A Shavua doesn't work for that because you're not allowed to make a Shavua against something that says in the Torah. It doesn't say in the Torah that you have to sleep and that you have to talk and you have to walk, right? But it does say in the Torah that one has to be with their wife. So therefore, the Shavua does not work if a man makes a Shavua that he's not going to be with his wife. That's why it's not in this Mishnah. So again, Shavua works. Then we go back to the interesting terminologies of Nedarim. Carbon. If a guy says carbon, loy oichal lecha. Carbon, I'm not going to eat from you. Ha carbon, sha'oichal lecha. This is a carbon of what I'm eating, of your food that I'm eating. Loy carbon, loy oichal lecha. It's not a carbon that I'm not eating from you. Mutter. In all these cases, it's mutter. It's not a neder. Right? Again, he says carbon, loy oichal lecha. Carbon that I'm not eating from you. Yeah? And ha carbon, sha'oichal lecha. That right? That's because those are just lashonos of like a shvua, not of shvua. Like the Ran says that it's like ela b'chaye carbon. It's sort of like you're saying by the life of the carbon, I'm not going to eat by you, but it's not a lashon of a neder. Those are not lashonos of neder. And the loy carbon loy achalacha. So that means what I don't eat from you is not a carbon, right? So that's mutter. So we'll see in the Gemara exactly what this is. So on Tamar Aleph, Mani Masnisen. So who is the Tana of our Mishnah? Meir. It's Meir, right? Again, we had these Machlokes between Meir and Rabbi Yehuda. Right? Meir holds that you don't have to say ki, all that stuff. You just say the word carbon and that's all. And Rabbi Yehuda held that you have to say ki or something like that. So who's the Tana of our Mishnah? Meir. Di Rabbi Yehuda, loy shani le carbon, loy shani le ha carbon. Because according to Rabbi Yehuda, he doesn't care whether you say carbon, hot carbon, etc., etc. And the Gemara asks, "Aim of seifa, but what about the seifa?" Now this gets confusing because the way the Gemara quotes the seifa of the Mishnah is not what we have. Right? Aim of seifa, le carbon, loy oichal lecha, mutter. It doesn't say that in our Mishnah. It says loy carbon. It says loy carbon. I'm going to eat from you. So the Rashi says it's not going on this Mishnah. This is really going on the Mishnah in the last parak where it says le carbon loy oichal. Either way, and we had this Gemara a couple of times. So and I still, even with a couple of times, I still don't understand it, but I'll try and say it the best I can. Right? So Ema Sefer, what about the Sefer? It says loy carbon, loy oichal lecha. right? Double negative. So that's mutter. Vatnan lekarban lo'oichel lecha meir assur. If he says it's not a carbon, what I'm not eating, so meir says it's assur. What does that mean? Because it's not a carbon, what I'm not eating from you. Mashma, that what I am eating from you is a carbon. Right? You come into a guy's friend's house and say, you know, what I don't eat from you is not a carbon. That's mashma, that what I eat from you is a carbon. So according to Meir, it's assur. Lick carbon, hey, it's almost as if he said that it should be a carbon. Therefore, I'm not eating. Right? So if that's the pshat, so then it's a stira and Meir. So the Gemara answers like kasha, that's not a kasha. Hadamar lick carbon. One is talking, I'm sorry, Hadamar la carbon. The one is talking about where he says la, which he's saying is like a carbon. And Hadamar loy the carbon. And the other one is saying where it's not a carbon, the loy have a carbon comment, where he's saying that it means that it is not, his friend's thing is not going to be a carbon. Okay, those are the la, the li, according to Meir. Fine. Zok the Mishnah. Shavua loy oichel lecha. If a guy says, I'm making a shvuah that I'm not eating. Now, it's you can see in the Gemara, it's not a hard Gemara, but it's very interesting the way the Gemara understands this. He's saying, I'm making a shvuah that I'm not eating from your food. Right? That's one thing. So he's saying, shvuah loy oichel lecha. I'm making a shvuah that I'm not eating. Ha shvuah sha'oichel lecha. This is a shvuah that I am eating from you. Right? And loy shvuah, and then he says, loy shvuah loy oichel lecha. It's not a shvuah that I'm not eating from you, which sounds like what I don't eat from you is not a shvuah. Again, this is the same Mishnah as before. Now, before it was Neder, now it's shvuah. Then all of these things are going to be assur. Right? So again, we said by Neder they're all mutter, by shvuah they're assur. Now, what does it mean? Shvuah lo oichel lecha. So does that mean that I'm making a shvuah that I'm not eating from you, or is it a shvuah that I'm making a shvuah that I'm not eating from you? Let's see. So mechlal. So Gemara says mechlal the hashvuah sha'oichel lecha the lo yachilna mashma must be. If you're saying that in all these three cases it's assur, so when a guy says he's making a shvuah of eating your thing, that's the second case in the Mishnah is shvuah sha'oichel lecha. I'm making a shvuah that I'm going to eat from you. Well, that's not really a good translation. He's saying shvuah because that's going to be the Machlokes now. He's saying I'm making a shvuah sha'oichel lecha.
Is the word Shavua is the word Shavua part of his declaration, or is it like here's a Shavua and the Shavua is the guy says I'm not eating of yours? How do you touch this? It's like I'm about to take on a Shavua that I'm not eating your stuff. Here, take a piece of my snack. Have one of my potato chips. No, I'm not eating your chips. That's a Shavua, or is it say I'm making a Shavua, I'm not eating your chips?
No, I thought he has to say the word shvuah.
That's what I'm asking. I don't know how to touch that.
Now I understood it as he's making a shvuah. He's saying the word shvuah. No, I mean certainly mashma like that in the Gemara. Let's see the Gemara Vayta and we'll see.
Thank you.
So the Gemara is saying in the second case it says shvuah of what I eat from you. So since we're saying it's also for him to eat, so it must be that when it says shvuah sha'oichel lecha, it means that he's not eating. Right? Otherwise, why should it be? He's making a shvuah that he's going to eat. Again, he says the term shvuah of your food. Right? Shvuah of your food. Does that mean shvuah? Yes, he's going to eat your food, or does it mean shvuah that he's not going to eat your food? Right? So that's the question. So the Gemara is saying it's mashma from a Mishnah that was saying when the fellow says shvuah that it's also for him to eat. So clearly, the Mishnah is learning means that I'm making a shvuah that I'm not going to eat your food. But then we have a kasha because it says shvuah shtayim shein arba. This brings up memories of the first Mishnah in Shabbos. Shvuahs, by a shvuahs, you have two types of shvuahs that are really four. What does this mean? sha'oichel v'shaloi oichel. You can have a shvuah that you're going to eat somebody's food, and you can make a shvuah that you're not going to eat somebody's food. Sha'achalti v'shaloi achalti. You could also make a shvuah that you're going to eat, that I ate, I'm sorry, past tense, that I ate somebody's food. V'shaloi achalti. And you could also make a shvuah that you didn't eat the food. All right. So now you see that there's 4 terminologies: 2 for eating, and 2 for not eating. All right. So each one has its own terminology. If it's that, so this that we're saying shaloi oichel, that he's not going to eat, sha'achalti v'shaloi achalti, or that I ate and I didn't eat. Right. The Bach sticks in sha'achal v'shaloi oichel, right? Meaning there's 2 terminologies for each. So then it's mashma that when a guy says oichel, he means to eat, right? Meaning if the Bryce is saying that there's 2 types of shuas, there's a shua that you could say I will eat from you, and there's a shua that I will not eat from you, and there's a shua that I ate from you, and there's a shua that I didn't eat from you. Each one is very clear. So how can you say that using the word shvuah sha'oichel lecha means that you're not going to eat his food, right? How could that be? So Gemara is going to have 2 terutzim. Amar Abaya, sha'oichel shtei l'shayin is mashma. No, the word oichel can be mashma both ways. Oichel can be mashma that he's going to eat, or it could be mashma that he's not going to eat. How? How you masarvin by lechel? Let's say he was, you go to somebody's house, and what does the woman of the house do? She's pressuring you to eat, right? And you say no, right? Masarvin means you're refusing. How you masarvin by lechel, right? They're pushing him to eat. He says, I'm going to eat. Don't worry, I'm going to eat. Right? As soon as the kiddush food wears off, I'm going to eat. Right? Yeah. No, he's not going to eat. Huh? Yeah. So Visu, and so finally, guy gets fed up. The lady's saying, eat. So he says, I'm going to eat. Then he says, Shavua sha'oichel. I'm making a shvuah that I'll eat. So that's the achilna mashma. That's very clear from the whole situation that he's making a shvuah that he will eat, because he said 5 minutes ago that he's going to eat. So okay, so that shvuah is clearly mashma that he's going to eat. Aval Omar lo yachilna. But if he says I'm not eating, the kiddush was so good, I'm not eating. V'su Omar shvuah sha'oichel, and then he says shvuah that I'll eat. Then that's clear that his intention when he said the word achilna, that he really meant he's making a shvuah from eating. Right? So that's the way Abaya says it. Very, very, very practical. It's really, you have to take each scenario as it comes, right? So Rav Ashi Omar, I mean, it's interesting. How do you extend that? Like with that lottery shiloh, I keep thinking that's the shiloh, that girl that said that she'll daven 3 times a day if her father wins the lottery and he won $7, right? So I keep thinking to use that, trying to understand how we could paskin. So clearly, if he's there, she says it to him, and when he's in the store buying the lottery ticket for the Mega Millions or whatever it is, then clearly she meant. I mean, that's a neder. So the question is, can you learn one out from the other? But she meant if he wins the major lottery. If she said it when he's doing scratch-offs, then maybe if $7 is enough, because maybe that's what she had kavanah for. Whatever it is. So that's what we're saying. So the Abai is saying that it's totally in the situation, and you can figure out from the situation what he meant. Rav Ashi doesn't like that territory. Rav Ashi Amar sha'oichel to Shavua, when it says the Mishna, the word sha'oichel, he really meant she'i oichel ka'amar. E means not. E oichel means he did not eat, meaning I will not eat. I'm sorry. He's saying Shavua. It doesn't. The way Rav Ashi is saying the Mishnah, it doesn't say Shavua sha'oichel. He's saying Shavua she'i oichel. Like he sort of extended that aleph a little bit, sort of like the people that say Achot, by Shema, they extend that aleph to who knows, right? Whether that should be done or shouldn't be done. Okay, right? But so he said she'i oichel, right? So the shaila is, did he mean e oichel, or did he just extend his aleph a little bit? Right? So Rav Ashi is saying that's what it is. He meant she'i oichel, and that's why. So the Gemara asks a obvious question. If that's what he said, she'i oichel, he says shavua she'i oichel. So im came pshita. I remember it's pasha. What's the chiddush? A guy makes a shua. I'm making a shua that I'm not going to eat from you. Mishna doesn't have to teach that. That's pasha that he's not allowed to eat from him. How could you say that that's what it is? So Rav Ashi answers, no. Mao the same. Meikam lishnahi. That maybe she'i oichel is just a meikam lishna. I don't know exactly how you touch meikam. The article touched it as, hold on, a corruption of the speech. I don't know if I would touch it that way, but meaning he not slang, he slurred, like he slurred. Would that be the right way to say it? He sort of slurred. That's not a slur, because slur is at the end of the word, I think. But whatever, he messed up his word, and so you would think the iskale, and he tripped on it, right? Or he made a takala, right? He messed up, but he didn't really mean to say she'i oichel. Kamash malan, we say no. He said she'i oichel, therefore it means it's a shvuah that he's not going to eat. So Rav Ashi really turns the Mishnah upside down. He's taking the word she'oichel and he's saying no, he meant she'i oichel. And even if, well, what happens if the guy says that he meant she'oichel, but he just messed up his word? Do we not listen to him? The chayra that I think we would have to listen to him. That's either tomorrow's daf or the next daf. That would be mashma like that. Either way, so again, we have Machlokes Abaye and Rav Ashi. Abaye says that you have to base it. Sometimes she'oichel can mean that he will eat, and sometimes she'oichel means that he's making sure that he will not eat, based on the scenario. And Rav Ashi says no. If he says she'oichel, he's clearly making sure that he will eat. And our Mishnah, when it says that it's also for him to eat, it's because he said she'i oichel, right? Now the Gemara is going to say why Abaye and Rav Ashi didn't like each other's answers. Abaye lo yamar tam ki Rav Ashi. Abaye didn't want to say the reason according to Rav Ashi. The loy katani she'i oichel. He has very balabata shekasha. It doesn't say she'i oichel in the Mishnah. It says she'oichel. It doesn't say she'i oichel. So how can you say that it says she'i oichel? Rav Ashi nodi min tam da Abaye, and Rav Ashi, like nod means like he was moving away from Rav Ashi, from Abaye's reason. Why? Because savar shaloi oichel nami mash mishtei l'shonos. Because again, Abaye is saying that the word oichel can sometimes be mashma assur that he will eat, and sometimes be mashma assur that he won't eat. And Rav Ashi says shaloi oichel could also sometimes be mashma that he will not eat, and sometimes shaloi oichel could be mashma that he will eat. Why? For a similar scenario, if they were pressuring him to eat, and he said, I'm not eating, then he says a shvuah, then if he says a shvuah after that, it's a bein sha'oichel, bein shaloi oichel. Doesn't make a difference what he said in the shvuah, whether he said sha'oichel or whether he said that he's not eating. Hadin achilna mashma da'amar. It's that's mashma that he meant that he's saying a shvuah that he will eat, right? And then you could also find the case of a lishna of a shvuah that he's not going to eat, because shvuah the lo yachilna kama, because a shvuah that I'm not going to eat, right? So meaning, so the kasha is just like the word oichel according to Abaye can sometimes mean that he plans on eating, and sometimes it means that he doesn't plan on eating. So then shvuah lo oichel also can mean the same thing, right? So why are you only stopping in the Mishnah by oichel? You can also say shelo oichel. Ella. Right, so what does it mean? Tana paska. The Tana said a psak. Sha'oichel the achilna mashma. When a guy says sha'oichel, it means that he's eating. The shaloi oichel loy oichel mashma, and shaloi oichel means loy oichel and finished. So Rav Ashi doesn't mess around with any of the terminologies. He said if you said oichel, you meant oichel. If you say loy oichel, you meant loy oichel, and that's it. Right? Abaye says no, depending on the scenario. you can say that Shavua sha'aychel can really mean that he's making a Shavua that he's not going to eat. Right? Okay.
Why by Nesarvin does Shaloi Eichel always mean Eichel?
What do you mean?
And the reason Rav Ashi doesn't say like a Baya, he gives the case of Nesarvin by Lechel, and he says Le'echel no Le'echel. And then when he makes the Shua, Bein Le'echel, Bein Eichel, it means Eichel. Is that like asking someone 3 times Daven Paramid? You can't say no the 3rd time? Why is it gotta mean Eichel?
Which case? You're going on Rav Ashi's kasha?
Rashi's reason that he doesn't say like a Baya.
Right. I mean, why does it have to be?
Yeah. Why would Loi Eichel mean Eichel?
Well, sarcasm.
Oh, it's going the wrong way. I would say sarcasm the other way. Oh, shvush Eichel. I'm being sarcastic. I'm saying I'm not eating. Why would it?
I'm not going to eat. I'm not going to eat. You're going to put fries in front of me and I'm not going to eat.
Yeah, he just said so 5 times. Now he's making a shvua. Why is he making a shvua?
No, I think what Avi's saying is correct. That's what he's saying.
So the Laya Chilna originally was also sarcasm.
No. Laya Chilna is that he's not eating.
Okay.
Then they keep pressuring him. So he says, I'm not going to eat.
That's the shvua.
Correct.
First, he was really ernst. I'm not going to eat, I'm not going to eat. Finally, when he makes a din deraisa on himself, now he's being sarcastic.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
I think that's what it is. He's got so fed up that Excuse me. I think so. I don't know. What should I tell you? I can't. That's what how else do you understand the Gemara? Well, all of a sudden you're switching from a loya chilna to an eichel. Why?
I don't know. Maybe it's a mitzvah. Like what's it called? Like the 3 times for Amud. Something like that. I have no idea.
I don't know. Okay, so this is Avi's pshat is all right. I think.
Presumably the way he says it would have to work with that.
Yeah, so now you want to start saying, well, maybe you have to take, what's it, what are you saying, the tone of the voice?
Yeah.
The tone of his voice. I'll go with the simple way of saying it. You have to also use tone of voice.
So then it's not really true. Then we know Loi Eichel means Eichel. It's not Loi Eichel.
I don't know.
I don't know what that means anymore.
That's where Ashi holds different than Abaye. Abaye is the literal.
No, Abaye would argue with that.
Where Ashi says there's something called sarcasm in the world, and sometimes when they say I'm not going to eat, it means no. Of course I'm going to eat.
And Abaye argues.
I don't know what Abaye. I was wondering. The Gemara doesn't continue. The Gemara doesn't continue and doesn't say what each one's how each one answers each other's problems with their shot. The Gemara doesn't continue. I was wondering what Abaye would say. All right.
If he agrees with that, then Rav Ashi has no time.
Yeah. I don't know. Okay. Bye, Tim. Yeah. I just hope nobody ever asks me these shilas. I really hope, because I would have no idea what to do. I have no idea. I would probably say to him, can I feed you? And finished. I'll give you the $20 and that's all. Right? Anyways, okay. Zok the Mishna. Zeh chomer b'shvuas min Nedarim. Right? This is a chumrah of shvuas from Nedarim. The chomer min Nedarim, meaning what we said before this, what we said previously, is where shvuas are stricter than Nedarim, right? Because we said by Nedarim, those 3 terminologies of lo yochel, la'achol, all those 3 terminologies we said by a neder is not a neder. And by shvuah, we said it is a shvuah. But there is a chumrah of Nedarim over shvuas. Chumrah of Nedarim over shvuas. Ketzad. Amar kainam sukkah shani oisa. If a guy says kainam, which again we already said kainam means I am not going to do this. Kainam, he makes a neder sukkah shani oisa, that the sukkah I make, I'm not sitting in it. Lulav shani noitel, I'm making a kainam that I'm not going to take lulav. Tefillin shani maniach, I'm not going to take tefillin.
Sukkah shani oisa is one sukkah or any sukkah?
I'm not sure.
Because
Does this mean all sukkahs, or does it mean
that he
only his
can't
own
do.
sukkah? I think it means all.
That he said he can't do.
No, for a neder, he can. He can't
He's
do a
not
shvuah.
answering sukkahs. He's saying, I'm not going to build a sukkah.
What?
Kainam sukkah shani oisa and lula
Right.
shani noite. I'm not going to make a sukkah, and I'm
Not
not
so,
going to
that's
take
that's
lulav.
already not so poshut. If he means that he's not going to
It's
make it, or he means he's not going to sit in it.
Sukkah is there in view the mitzvahs to sit in it, not to make it.
Right, but I don't think it only means not to make it. I think it
I said,
means
how
that
can
he's
he
not
say
sitting in
lulav
the
shani
sukkah
noite?
either.
Who's it on? Is that on lulav on him?
Well, that's going to be part of the.
Because
That's
that's a
going to be part of
shvuah.
shaklavatariya.
That's
Is
a
it on?
shvuah.
It's not. We're not talking about a shul.
But another what's that?
Nether goes on a chefza,
Another goes on a chefza.
and the shul goes on the person.
So you can't make it on multiple chefzas. You can make it on one lulav. You can't make it on every lulav in the world.
Why not? Why not?
Because that's on him then. It's on the lulav.
It's not on him.
It's on
No, it's not.
every
It's
lulav
every
in the
lulav.
world.
I'm making a nether. I'm not going to use any lulav in the whole world.
So that's you not using a lulav. You want to say it's one chefza. That's true. You're
there are
not using a lulav.
10,000 lulavim in the world. I'm making a nether that I'm not going to use all 10,000 lulavim.
So that's on you now.
Why is that on me?
Because
Naftali, is chazer assur to eat?
yes,
Which chazer? All chazer or only one chazer?
all chazer.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
that's a
what,
chafza. Chafza shal assur.
I don't understand, but you can't go against something that's a mitzvah in the Torah. It's your text yesterday. Tell you what, right?
that's exactly what I was texting today. It's a shvuah you can't make, but a nether you could.
And what's the difference between a shavuah and another? On you or on the object?
What?
Yes.
Yeah, that's
Right.
what it is.
So you can make a neder on and then what? Then you don't do it. Then you,
Yes.
So make it a nether not
Let's
to-
wait. No, let's wait till I'm
Because a neder isn't answering the mitzvah. It's answering the chafza. So Mamela
Right.
won't be able to do the mitzvah. Shvu would be
Right.
answering the mitzvah.
It's hard. It's not an easy differentiation. Anyways, again, so Kate said, Amar kainam sukkah shaniyos. I'm making a kind of sukkah. You're right. The lashon of shani is mashma. Yeah.
Because when Gershon said something, he says something on tefillin, right?
Right.
Can he put under Benu Tom's?
Depends, right? If he's Hasidish, then he can't, because Hasidim hold it that's tefillin. Me and you, it's not tefillin, right? Me and you, it's just for the others, it's entertainment during Chazaras Hashatz.
Would we be yoitz? Would we be yoitz in the Oraisa? I mean, we would. Could you be not even an and be yoitz in the mitzvah? That's my question.
I hear you want to use something according to it.
Even Rabbeinu Tam tefillin are a little bit schwer. The Machlokes Rashi and Rabbeinu Tam about which way to put a mezuzah applies by tefillin also, parshas and tefillin. But all the Rabbeinu Tam's tefillin that they make, Rabbeinu Tam tefillins, are done l'shitas Rashi. So according to Rabbeinu Tam, there isn't a single bias of Rabbeinu Tam that would be kosher today.
Okay, that's a different stuff. Okay, fine. You want to push it further down the road. Okay, whatever. Yeah, anyway, so I don't know. Tefillin shani maniach b'nedarim assur. If he did it as a neder, it's assur. Right? B'shvuah is mutter. But if he made a shvuah that I'm not going to sit in the sukkah, I'm not going to use a lulav, I'm not going to use tefillin, she'ein nishbayin lavar al mitzvos. You're not allowed to make a shvuah that you're going to be over on mitzvos. Meaning, to say you're not going to use a lulav, you're not going to use the tefillin, so you're making a neder. It's the same way you go to your friend and say, I'm not eating your steak, right? So you're saying, I'm not using tefillin, I'm not using Hashem's tefillin. It's the same thing. But to make a shvuah on yourself, that you're not going to eat your friend's food, that you're allowed to do. To make a shvuah on yourself, that you're not going to do Hashem's mitzvahs, that's not allowed, right? So
Would this be like in a love, or it's just not a shvu at all?
I think it's
Is
not
it
a
a
shvuah
shavuah
at all.
shav?
I think it's
It's not even a shavuah shav.
I don't know. I was wondering that today when I was looking at it. I don't have that clear. But anyway, so that's what we're saying. So on Talmud Beis now. So chomer mechlal de nederu. So the Gemara says in the first line in the Mishnah that Shavua is stricter than a neder. It's mashma that there is some sort of neder here. We said before that the neder, it's not a neder, right? And we said by a Shavua it is a Shavua. But when you say that a neder is stricter, a Shavua is stricter than a neder, that sounds like it's still a neder, but it's not as strict as a Shavua. But we said that it's not even a neder. So how could that be? So that's the Gemara's kasha. Chomer michlal de nederu. If you're saying that it's chomer, that's mashma that it is a neder. It's just not as it's not as strict. For mutter katani, you said it's mutter. How can you say that it's more chomer? That means you're acknowledging that it's a neder. If it's not even a neder, then it's nothing, right? So it's like somebody saying that me. Peretz, they're saying that I'm not as good a barbecuer as Peretz, right? That's mashma that I barbecue, right? It's mashma that I do barbecue, but I'm not as good as Peretz. I don't barbecue at all, right? I'm not. You can't put me in the same sentence as barbecuing as Peretz, right?
Every kal v'chomer in Mezikin is this one's chayiv, this one's potter.
Yeah. So
why is that not the same thing? Mutter and assur, chayiv and potter.
no, because here we're saying that Shavua is more chomer than Neder. That means you're acknowledging that it's a Neder. It's not even a Neder. We said it's mutter, so it's not a Neder. Meaning, if it has to be more chomer than a Neder, then it's a Neder. It just has some leniencies, right? But that's not what it is here. Okay, but that's when you say that something is a neder is more chomer than a shvu is more chomer than a neder. If it's not a neder, so then how can you say it's more chomer than a neder? It wasn't even a neder, right?
And regel and rishus harabim.
Okay, you got to stick to the subject matter.
No, but I don't understand. That is what a kal v'chomer is. Here it works.
No,
Here it doesn't.
We're not saying a kal v'chomer here. We're just giving lists of what's stricter, what's more megal, right?
Well, that's a kal v'chomer.
Not a kal.
One's chomer.
Yeah, but we're not saying any.
Here, this is not
we're just
kal.
giving lists of what's more chomer and what's more kal. We're not trying to learn anything out of it. We're just giving you a list.
Because this lashon works here. It doesn't
Gershon,
work
you're
here.
putting it in a category. If you're sticking it in that category or in that column,
right?
that's all.
That means
Either
it's a
it belongs or
neder.
it doesn't belong.
Right, like me and Peretz in the same sense as barbecue. I don't belong. What should I tell you? Right, I just don't belong there. No, okay, all right, fine. So the Gemara says, it's not going on the last case. The previous case, Enochanami said it's not even a neder. That's not what the comparison is going to. The comparison is going on the Mishnah Tezvavam Beis, where it says, Shavua, she'eni yashon, she'eni medaber, she'eni mahalach. If a guy makes a Shavua that he's not going to sleep, he's not going to talk, and he's not going to walk, is assur. Zeh chomer b'Shavua mimin Nedarim. That in that case, Shavua is more chomer than Nedarim, right? So we said there that he's over on Bal Yachil if he doesn't keep it, right? We said that midoraisa. What was the teretz? Again, remember we said yesterday this is going to be Ravina's teretz. Ravina's teretz explained that Mishnah was that Mishnah meant that midoraisa he's not over on anything because you cannot be making a neder that you're not going to sleep. It's not anything tangible. So he said it's a neder midorabbana, right? So there you could say Shavua is stricter than neder because we're saying that it's a neder midorabbana, right? So that's what it means. Okay. So how do you have a chumrah of nedarim over Shavua? So we said one can make a neder. He's not going to use a lulav. He's not going to use a assur tefillin. He didn't say assur tefillin. etc., etc. The assumption is that lulav is all inclusive, not just the lulav, right? Just the same way we make a bracha on lulav, the whole, right? We have 4 minim and we make the bracha on latilas lulav, right? Even though we're taking hadas and maravas and esrog. So the assumption is when it says lulav here, it doesn't mean specifically lulav, it means to take all dalad minim. Yeah, fine. So Kahana Masni Amar Rav Gidol Amar Rav, Rav Yomi Masni Amar Rav Gidol Amar Shmuel, Minayin Shein Nishbayin Lavar Ala Mitzvos. How do you know that you're not allowed to make a shvuah to be over on mitzvos? Right? How do we know? You cannot make your words into chulin, meaning you cannot make your words, you can't lie or can't keep your word.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
If you don't want to answer me, if it's off topic, then don't. But we were saying mitzvahs lav lahenisnit. We've said this a few times.
All right, we're going to get to it in a couple of lines. Yeah.
What about the mitzvah of dalit kaisis, or the mitzvah to eat matzah, or the mitzvah to eat the carbon? What is that? So you could say it's not. He says, I'm not getting. I don't want to get under out of my carbon shlomim. So good. So can he do that or not? He's eating a 20-ounce steak, delicious steak, but it's lav lahenisnit. So what does that mean? How does a mitzvah of food not be lav lahenis?
Okay,
but
one second.
So I understand,
Right. Okay, 1 second. So let's just get to the lav lahenis and then we'll try. I'm trying to figure that whole thing out too.
Fine.
Yeah. So let's see. So how do you know that you can't make a shvuah against something in the Torah? So it says lo yachal dvarim. Dvarim lo yachal. You can't make your words, meaning his words, Hashem's words, you cannot make lo yachal. But you are going to, I said it backwards. Dvarai lo yachal, your own words, meaning in third person, his own words, you're not allowed to make chulin, meaning if you said you're going to do something, you got to do it, right? But you are allowed to make your words into chulin in order to do Hashem's will. So if you said you're making a shvuah, you're not eating by your friend, so you have to listen, whatever, you have to do what you said, right? But to go against Hashem, there you do go against your word because you don't keep your word in order to do Cheftzei Shemayim. So basically, we're learning out from Lo Yachel Devaroi. Yeah, so that's why Shavua, you can't make a Shavua against doing a mitzvah. Fine. You want to ask, Mishna Neder. What about Neder? The Chsiv Ishki Yidor Neder Lashem Lo Yachel Devaroi says the same thing by Neder, right? Same words. Lo Yachel Devaroi Shavua Nami. So you could say the same thing by Shavua, right? Hoksiv Ohi Shava Shavua Lashem Lo Yachel Devaroi. Yeah, so meaning you have the same terminology by both. Right, so therefore, a neder should also, neder should. Meaning you're saying like it says ishkiyid or neder lashem, right? So we're saying that even something that you make a neder to Hashem, you can't be yachal dvaroi. Shua also it says oihi shava shua lashem. You made a shua to Hashem, and then it says lo yachal dvaroi. Right, meaning we were saying ishkiyid or neder lashem. Lo yachal devaroi. So we originally were thinking that it's lo yachal devaroi is. I'm sorry, when he says before we were just trying to darshan lo yachal devaroi. He makes a shua lo yachal devaroi. So now we're saying, well, how come by neder? Because by neder it says ki yidor neder lashem. You made a neder to Hashem, and then the right afterwards lo yachal devaroi, which means even when you're making a neder to Hashem, you still have to keep your word. So you're not mevatel the neder, even if that means not doing a mitzvah. But Shavua says the same thing. It says, Ahi Shava Shavua Lashem, Lo Yachal Dvaroi. So Abaya says, Had Amar Hana Sukkah Alai. By a neder, he's saying that I'm making a neder against getting Hana from the Sukkah. Right? Hana from the Sukkah, not from the mitzvah. He's saying, I'm making a neder that will not get Hana from the Sukkah. So therefore that works. By shvuah, he says, I'm making a shvuah that I will not get hana from the sukkah, meaning that's going on him, on the gavra. The neder is going on the cheftza. I don't want the sukkah to give me any sort of hana. But by the shvuah, it's I'm not going to get hana from the sukkah, so that doesn't work. Right? So again, if it goes against the gavra, it doesn't work. If it goes against the cheftza, then it does work. So then Rava has the kasha. That's what Rava was referring to. Amar Rava, chi mitzvos lahanes nitnu. Are we given mitzvahs to get hana from it? We don't get mitzvah. We don't do mitzvahs to get hana. We get mitzvahs in order to be Oved Hashem. Right? So because the guy makes a shvuah that or he makes a shvuah that he's not going to, he shouldn't, or he makes a neder that he's not going to, he shouldn't sit in the sukkah, right? It's not called hana. It's not called hana, right?
The mitzvahs it is or no? You sleeping
so right. So that's the kasha.
So what?
Yeah. So that's the big kasha that the Mefarshim all ask. Like Aaron's asking, what do you mean? You do get hana from a sukkah. I mean, I hope you get hana, but it depends on the weather. Depends on the weather. But you could get hana. There is the possibility to get hana from a sukkah. So Elamai, what do you have to say? You have to say that it means a spiritual hana, whatever that is. Right? Whatever spiritual hana that you go, you're taking away the spiritual hana from it. I don't know. I don't know exactly how to explain all the differences, right? But that's what Rava is saying. It's mitzvahs are not to get hana from it, so therefore you don't have such a. How can you make that type of tanai? So it doesn't work. So Elamar Rava. So Rava has a different shot. Had Amar Yeshivas Sukkah Alai. He says he's making a neder that the sukkah, I'm assuring the sitting in the sukkah on me. So that's going on the sukkah. And the other one is saying that I'm making a shvuah that I'm not going to sit in the sukkah. So Rav is saying it has nothing to do with the hana. It has to do with the person, right? Okay, so the Gemara says b'she'ein nishpain lavar al mitzvos me'hacha nafkalei. Now again, we learned out that you can't make a shvuah on mitzvahs because it says lo yachel dvaro, right? We know that there's if you ask anybody, we know that the reason why you can't make a shvuah is because of this next Gemara. Right, the lo yachel dvaro is not the popular Gemara. The popular Gemara is this next one. We learn out the Tani yachal nishpal levatel some mitzvah like bittul yachal yechayev. Let's say somebody makes the shvuah that he's going to be mevatel the mitzvah, like he says, I'm not going to use lulav, I'm not going to wear tefillin, but loy bittul, and he wasn't mevatel, meaning he did the mitzvah yachal yechayev. So you would think that he should be chayev because he made a shvuah and didn't keep it. Right? It says that he does it. He made a shvuah. He's chayiv to bring the carbon, right? So whether he said for the good, for the bad, or for the good, right? That what? Mahatava rishos, just like when doing something good, is a rishos, meaning we're talking about things that are optional. Afhara rishos. So too, doing bad is rishos. Yotza nishpa levatel some mitzvah. That comes to exclude somebody who makes a shvuah to not do a mitzvah, and veloy bittul, and he's not mevatel it, she'ena rishus biyodei, that he doesn't have rishus to do that, right? Because he was making a neder on the shvuah, and I'm sorry, not the neder on a mitzvah. So meaning again, we're learning out from the word להרע להטיב that it has to be something that he could do optionally. Right, so that comes to exclude somebody who's doing something that's not optional. Right, so that's how we learn it out. So the Gemara says, so which one is the main limud? Is it this one or lo yachal devarik? So the one answers chadkra lemifterei mikarban shvuah. Now one passuk is coming to tell you that he's potter. The hara or lahetiv is coming to tell you that he's potter from a korban shvuah. Meaning, again, he says he makes a shvuah that he's not going to wear tefillin, and he ends up wearing tefillin. So now is he over on the shvuah now, or does the shvuah not work? So what we're saying is the להרע, להטיב is telling you that he's potter from a korban shvuah. L'chad l'miftarei min lav de shvuah, and the passuk of yachal dvaro is telling you not only is he potter from a korban, he was never even over on the lav, right? So he's not even going to get malchus, right? That's what you're asking before, Gershon. So he's getting nothing. Basically, if the guy makes a shvuah, he gets nothing. Now I don't know. I mean, we're going to see it later on that it's there anybody that makes a shvuah. I think in tomorrow's daf or Shabbos daf that anybody that makes a shvuah, even if he gets out of it, is going to be punished. But okay, but that's what we're saying. So we have two limudim to tell you that somebody makes a shvuah against doing a mitzvah is going to, not only does he not have to bring a korban, he's not even going to get malchus. Okay. I hope this was semi-understandable. Everybody should have themselves a fine night.
Oh, yeah.
Okay,
Fine.
Zagis.
It's not quite what I was asking before.
Not what?
It's not quite the same thing as what I was asking earlier. This Gemara tells me that there's no lav of layachal devar. So he won't get
Right.
malchus for layachal devar. But will he get malchus for shvuah shav?
Right.
That's what I was asking.
Oh, okay,
Isn't-
okay.
Yeah.
Fine. All right, I got to run to meir.
Me too.
All right, Shikayach.
Okay, Zagis.
So what was it? 3? Tomorrow's whatever it's posted.